To Brands Hatch for the season finale of the BRSCC Fiesta Junior Championship. Harry Gooding arrives in the lead of this year's championship and just needs to finish in the top 10 to clinch it. Here in assembly as the cars line up behind me for race 1. Harry Gooding is in the lead of the championship as we come to this final meeting, and we just needs to finish in the top 10 to clinch the 2016 championship. I'm going to try and catch up with him now to get his thoughts for race 1. Harry, championship so close. Your thoughts for this penultimate race of the season?
Yeah, it's just really close. Just got to make sure I have a good race, and then hopefully we'll get good points, and just got to finish in the top 10 to win it. But I'm just going to try and keep it in top 3 at least.
Maiden podium for the young Scot, Jack Davidson here from Danny Harrison. Then it's James Waite and Harry Gooding on row 2. Elliot Wilson and Bradley Burns in behind. Row 4, Nick Reeve and Lewis Kent. Fifth row of the grid, Callum Hawkins Rowe and Angus Dudley. Cameron Pugh and James Hillary on row 6 from Ben Swift and Warwick Dayden. Christopher McKenzie and Lachlan Behrman are next, followed by 2 newcomers, Josh Steed and Scott Cansdale. Welcome to Messrs Steed and Cansdale here to the championship. Biggest ever entry, I hasten to add. And a maiden pole for the young Scot, who gets away well. A little bit recalcitrant is Danny Harrison. Quite the opposite, though, from the outside of row 2. Harry Gooding, the championship leader, is looking around the outside at Paddock Hill Bend in the blue and orange car and challenging the Scot, who's hunting for a first win. Up the inside line, though, goes Bradley Burns. It's all gone pear-shaped. Off was Cameron Pugh, and bang! Off go Danny Harrison and also Harry Gooding, the championship leader, both off at Druids. Now, will the clerk of the course look at that as, well, not first corner bunching, but first lap bunching? We're going to have to look at that again, I think, to see what happened. But it was a very, and somebody else getting fired off as well. So I'd be surprised if we don't see a safety car with 2 cars off at Druids, another one off there at the bottom of Graham Hill Bend. The race leader, though, is Bradley Burns. Jack Davidson is in second position. Third place, Elliot Wilson. Fourth is Lewis Kent. And here they come across the line to complete the first lap. We're looking at second and third places with Bradley Burns out front, who came through that very well indeed. Maybe the reason we're not seeing the safety car is that the drivers should effectively be all aware that there are cars off there, because it was the lead cars that went off. So therefore, logic says that these guys have already seen the cars that are in a prone position. But the organisers, here's a replay of what happened. You can see Harry Gooding got turned in a little bit there into the 19 car of Danny Harrison. Harrison back on track, was collected by the 16 car. We didn't see the ultimate or all of the build up to that in the replay, because the race is going on here. And up into second place now has gone James Waite. So James Waite up into second, getting it sideways, and this is going to allow Jack Davidson to look down the inside line. Elliot Wilson is there as well, plus the white and green Jam Sport livery of Callum Hawkins Rowe in fifth place. Here they come across the line again. So they'll head down to the incident zone for the second time of asking. Lewis Kent has dropped back a little bit into the clutches of Angus Dudley as the race leaders go up the hill. I tell you what, Bradley Burns came through that very well indeed. James Waite is in second position, the youngster from Barking in the black car. Jack Davidson, great to have another Scot who does a lot of travelling. And remember that he comes from Falkirk, doesn't have a knock-hill round to enjoy. Of course, it would be inappropriate for the organisers to lay on a knock-hill round for one driver, but it might be a consideration to have an away round to perhaps encourage some more northerly drivers in. And of course, the BRSCC who organise this racing don't have any natural affiliation to have a meeting up in Scotland, but it's a mark of this championship that Jack Davidson, a mark of the respect that he and the team hold this championship in, to come down and race. So As you saw, safety vehicle being deployed. So the organisers have taken the decision that whilst everyone's negotiated the circuit safely, it would be wise to move those 2 cars from Druids and the field filter their way through. There is Lewis Kent going through up ahead of Angus Dudley. The field fairly well spread out now, and coming towards us is Scott Cansdale. Now, is that the car that was off the circuit at the bottom of Graham Hill Bend? Possibly, in that he's a little way behind. Or it might have been Josh Steed in the 94. We have to say well done to the organisers for putting together an 18-car field, inevitably with more drivers. And there is the recovery at Druids, the red car of Danny Harrison, and the championship leader just out of shot now, Harry Gooding. And that incident will be poured over by drivers, teams, and most importantly, of course, officials. Lights are out on the safety car, and it's up to Bradley Burns to pace them round, ready for the restart, with James Waite here as well. Now remember, you're watching 14 to 17-year-olds in this championship, and they are coached a great deal by many vastly experienced race drivers, and they'll be coached on things like restarts, and Bradley Burns shows that that's the case and gets away well. James Waite still there in second, doesn't lose a huge amount of ground. Jack Davidson is in third position, and here they come then through Paddock Hill Bend for the first time, and Bradley Burns chasing a 3rd win of the year. It's a great restart from him. Elliot Wilson running in 4th place ahead of Callum Hawkins Rowe, and they come down the hill into Graham Hill Bend, and Bradley Burns getting away now from that 2nd place car of James Waite. Waite's best result, 2nd position this year in round 4 at Silverstone, so quick driver on his day. Hasn't been with us the full term of this year, as we look at Elliot Wilson, who took a double win on the 3rd of April in rounds 1 and 2 of the championship, and Elliot 3rd in the championship, but hasn't done as well as he did picking up that double in the opening rounds of the year. Here we've got a challenge on. Nick Reeve putting the challenge here on James Hillary, and James did a good job there, grabs the line going into paddock, retains position. Little bit of a wobble on for Lewis Kent, who's about to be passed by Lachlan Behrman, who goes up the inside. Different livery for Lachlan. We've got Angus Dudley in the 33 car in behind as well, and off into the barrier. That is a shame for Lachlan. I think that's going to be a retirement for him with that front end damage. A real shame, but he was racing hard for position. As we go back now, here is Jack Davidson in 3rd place going up towards Druids. 3rd position at the moment for the young Scot. It could be a 2nd podium of the year for him, and of course he'll be thinking about what sort of form he can bring back hopefully next year into the championship to possibly secure a championship title and move up the order. Just to confirm championship points coming into this round: Harry Gooding the leader from Bradley Burns, Elliot Wilson 3rd in the standings from Lachlan Behrman, and then Lewis Kent, Angus Dudley 6th in the standings. The championship lead is 52 points, and that's with Harry Gooding dropping 51 points. So he did need a top 10 in this one to secure the championship. His arch championship rival is leading this race, so it's going to come down to the last race of the year. And Bradley Burns looking good for a 3rd win of the season. Won round 5 at Rockingham, then won at Silverstone again in round 12. He's been on the podium many times as well, and the youngster from Alton in Hampshire looking in fine fettle here. Got the fastest lap back on lap 16 2 laps ago, and has got the lead out to around about a 2.5 seconds along Cooper Straight into Surtees. James Waite still in 2nd position. Fastest lap incidentally coming in at just under 80 miles per hour, only a shade slower than the senior specification Fiestas in the Junior Championship. But here comes Burns onto the Brabham Straight and crosses the line to go on to the last lap. Still looking for that 3rd win. He's got a very good healthy lead indeed. You look at his mirrors, he's under no pressure. Doesn't run too wide over the curbs. Up into Druids he goes. Still James Waite in second position from Jack Davidson. 30 points up for grabs here for the race win. And of course on drop scores that could well pull some back here from Harry Gooding going into the last race of the year. James Waite on for 28 points. Jack Davidson will be on for 27 plus a bonus point for pole position. So second and third place will both get 28 points showing on their end of season tally here because of the extra point for pole position. But Bradley Burns has got the extra point for fastest lap, and that means that he will score 31 points in this penultimate race of the year as he accelerates towards the checkered flag and a third win of the 2016 BRSCC Fiesta Junior Championship. Burns the winner from James Waite and Jack Davidson, Elliot Wilson fourth from Callum Hawkins-Rowe and Nick Reeve, then James Hillary seventh from Angus Dudley, Christopher Mackenzie and Josh Steep. Non-finishes for Scott Cansdale, Lachlan Behrman, Danny Harrison, Cameron Pugh, Ben Swift and Warwick Dayden.
The pace was good, but just didn't have a good qualifying, and then we just kept to the outside because I knew everyone was going to try and get in that inside lane. Going through Paddock Hill Bend, it went well, and then started people hitting each other, smoke was going, and then Gooding got hit by Harrison, and then I just went around the outside and just kept it there for the whole race.
It was a bit tricky at the start considering there was people everywhere, but we had good pace all through the weekend, and in qualifying it gave us a good chance for a podium, and hopefully you can also do that in race 2 and considering we're starting second place.
It was good after the safety car, but I just tried to keep up with James and Bradley, but it just wasn't happening. The car started going off, but I just kept trying, but it didn't happen.
It has all come down to the last race of the season. Bradley Burns on pole, James Waite is second, and Jack Davidson is sitting third. Richard, it's over to you.
Thanks, Rachel. Bradley Burns starts on pole position with James Waite alongside, then Jack Davidson and Elliot Wilson. Callum Hawkins-Rowe and Nicholas Reeve on row 3, followed by James Hillary and Angus Dudley. The fifth row, Christopher Mackenzie and Josh Steed, then Scott Cansdale and Lachlan Behrman. Danny Harrison with Cameron Pugh on row 7, then Ben Swift and Warwick Dayden. Harry Gooding and Lewis Kent due to line up at the back of the grid, both of whom, as you saw, were excluded from the result of race number 1. But Harry Gooding is not there, and I'll talk more about the implications of that later on as away we go. A great start by Bradley Burns, who wants to make it a double. Very good start by Elliot Wilson, looking to the outside line of James Waite. So they go through Paddock Hill Bend for the first time. Lewis Kent is making up ground. Lewis, I think, in his last junior race, so be interesting to see if he makes the moves up into the senior formula for next year. Christopher Mackenzie on the outside line in red and white, and it looks a much better start. A little bit of contact there on the back end of the 21 car of Jack Davidson by Mackenzie, who loses out. James Hillary does a very neat move down the inside. Mackenzie goes wide, and look how quickly Lewis Kent is coming through right from the very back. As we said, an exclusion in race number 1 for driving in a manner incompatible with general safety. Same went for the championship leader. Now, an exclusion can't count as a drop score, but the championship leader Harry Gooding will drop this race being a non-starter, so that means that he will drop 25 points in the championship, and the gap is big enough for Gooding, by not starting this race because of the drop score rule, to secure the championship. So Bradley Burns is of course going to go all out to try and win. Bradley is on 350 points at the moment. We have to take away 22 drop points for him, which puts him down to 328. If he wins the race, he'll get 30 points, which will be 358. And the total for Harry Gooding is 375. I hope you followed that. You do have to be a mathematician, or as my uncle would say, a math magician, to work these drop score scenarios out, as we look at Angus Dudley on the inside of James Hillary, and on the outside line goes Callum Hawkins-Rowe in the 41 car. We've seen so many great races this year. New drivers to the championship, the biggest field ever we've had in this championship, which started back in 2012 with Charlie Liddell as the maiden champion. And, you know, all of the drivers that have finished in the top 3 of the championships over the years still entertaining us in one form or another on the race circuits. But look at this battle at the moment. James Hillary up ahead of the man who finished on the podium in race number 1, the young Scot Jack Davidson, all the way from Falkirk. Angus Dudley is in behind as well. Dudley comes from Newmarket, he's in the yellow car. Then Callum Hawkins Rowe. Callum, of course, who won race 1 at Anglesey. And this championship, to my mind, gets better and better. The logistics of this championship, of course, mean that you can race a car in the juniors and then take the car on to race in the senior championship as well. You can also share the car, which we've seen in the past as well, with somebody racing in the senior championship, because the race dates organised by the BRSCC tie up the juniors. If you're watching the senior championship, you're going to see the juniors as well. Sideways stuff from Bradley Burns out front. James Waite is still there in second position, and in third place it is the number 12 of Nick Reeve, who is putting the pressure on. Now, I overlooked Nick Reeve in the early stages of this, but Nicholas Reeve coming through from 6th position on the grid into third place and looking pretty handy here. Reeve, who joined us at Rockingham and took a win at Silverstone, so he is running at the moment in third position and trying to hunt down James Waite at the minute. Waite still looking for his first win, but as we saw, outright podium pace is there as he took the podium in race number 1. So across the line they go. Burns from Waite and Reeve. We're going to have to look back to see who's in 4th position at the moment, but it's going to be Harry Gooding who'll be celebrating the championship. And these things are generally, of course, provisional, but points wise I don't think anyone's going to take it away from Harry. There is Angus Dudley being chased by Callum Hawkins Rowe, and then the light blue and orange car of Ben Swift, car number 5. Ben was a non-finisher, sadly, as we saw in race number 1, so hoping to finish this one and get the car home safely. It means we've got 17 starters, which is, I think, jointly the most we've had. We had 18 in race number 1. We had 17 starters at the start of the year. And in fact, just thinking back, we had 18 starters at Rockingham on the 15th of May. So we've actually equalled the best rather than setting the record. So my apologies for sending wrong messages out in the earliest race. But 18 is a very, very strong number of cars, particularly, as I've mentioned before, in junior championships where it's for 14 to 17 year olds, so you have to renew the driver base every 3 years. There is the Hillwood Motorsport car of James Hillary still running well ahead of Jack Davidson. So through go the top 3. 4th position is Elliot Wilson. 5th place at the moment is James Hillary, and Jack Davidson, who's racking up some good lap times on the timing screen, trying to close in on the youngster from Shipton. Had a rotten run, James Hillary, in the, I was going to say middle of the season, but from race 4 through to race 9 at Castle Combe, and then had some great racing at Silverstone. There is Angus Dudley still ahead of Callum Hawkins Rowe. So this one has been a lot more settled for our last race of the year. It'll be interesting to see who comes back next year. We'll probably have some young karters, maybe some drivers with no racing experience at all coming in to race in this wonderful championship again for its 6th season next year. Incredible to think that we've had 5 years of Fiesta Junior racing courtesy of the BRSCC, and the club were standard bearers for junior racing, inaugurating the T-Car Championship back in the day, which was the first ever junior car racing championship with the Sonny Howard built chassis, and they've maintained their commitment to junior racing here with this Fiesta Junior Championship. There is Lewis Kent up ahead of Josh Steed. One of the newcomers comes from St Albans, and Steed is going to be passed by Cameron Pugh, who goes through on the inside line. So a good pass by the youngster from Guildford, but having a look back now is Steed on the inside line, and I think Josh is going to get back. He does. Cameron Pugh is passed as they go across the line. Still there in the mix as well is Christopher Mackenzie in the 77 car, and a little bit of contact between the two, and Mackenzie, thankfully a lot of runoff on the inside line. He was watching what was going on, and the reaction to that puts his car off on the grass. There is Josh Steed, who continues on his way. Mackenzie recovers at the bottom of Haywoods Hill, climbs up towards Druids, and will carry on. He's still on for a finish just outside of the top 10. Lewis Kent, as we said earlier, has come through. The Essex Bodies car has come through into the top 10 from 17th on the grid, and he's having a pretty good race of it. He's been setting some very good lap times indeed, Lewis, in his swan song in the championship. There is Bradley Burns, though, being put under pressure now from James Waite. So Waite is cranking things up. Nicholas Reeve still there in third. This is really a race that could go any way of those three. Back to Callum Hawkins Row, being chased by Angus Dudley. So there are battles going on right the way through the field here, but we're on the last lap of the race. Well, as you can see, Nicholas Reeve is no longer there, and it's Bradley Burns looking to pick up another win, a fourth win of the year perhaps for Bradley Burns. He's really gained the speed and consistency over the course of the season. They're going to go past Scott Cansdale, who's acquitted himself superbly this weekend. Scott, the newcomer into car racing. The race leader, Bradley Burns, second place man, James Waite, safely past the newcomer and into Surtees, the left-hander, right-hander into McLaren, and then through Clearways. You just caught a glimpse there of Nicholas Reeve parked up on the inside on the grass of what used to be the Clearways Oval, but Bradley Burns coming through to take the checkered flag and will cement second in the championship. Harry Gooding is the champion, but Bradley Burns picks up win number 4. James Waite is second. Jack Davidson is going to come across the line in third place. Elliot Wilson is in fourth ahead of James Hillary, then Angus Dudley and Ben Swift. Lewis Kent in eighth from Callum Hawkins Rowe and Cameron Pugh. Josh Steed next from Christopher Mackenzie, and Scott Cansdale completing the finishers. Fastest lap to Jack Davidson.
It was close at points, and then we had problems with other cars in the way that made it even closer. But yeah, overall it was a really good weekend.
It's been a long time since your first win back out in Rockingham. How would you sum up your 2016 season for us?
It's been really good. Well, I did a bit last year, but this year's just been really good.
I'm really pleased with another podium, but towards the end I was pushing quite hard, maybe too hard at some points. But yeah, I'm disappointed to not get the top step, but maybe that'll come next year.
Well, Harry, you have done it. You are 2016 Fiesta Junior Champion. Congratulations. Come on, tell us about your season.
Yeah, it's been a really good season. We've had 6 wins over the year, been on the podium every round but the first one and this last one. Shame we couldn't have been racing for this last round, but just still got the points to win the championship, which is the main thing. Just like to say thanks to Jam Sport for just doing an amazing job with the car and making it spot on at every round.